Hey everybody, Mobile Gamers Unite here, FTC compliant adult vid. We are here in the land of Langrisser celebrating the release of Aka Shaka. It's this beautiful Indian shaman girl right here. Very awesome character, very unique, has a lot of fun mechanics to play with. This is not a necessary character for PvP. She's a summoner, so she has to summon wolves and stuff, and it works differently than other characters that have summons in this game. But she can do a lot of nifty things, and she's very fun to play. So anything that enhances the PvE play, sure, I will definitely try it. So I was very excited about this character. She just looks fun. But I will agree that if you're trying to make a big change for the better in your PvP roster, this is probably not a character that you're really going to look at. So we're gonna just look at mine. I just got her today. I did get her almost up to 5k in power, so she's ranked like top 10 on this server right now. So I have had a chance to run around with her for a little bit and actually use her abilities, test a few things out, because I gotta be honest with you guys, this is gonna be, we're gonna be trying to piece all of this together right now. She's very complicated. I've already had a hard time explaining how her stats and her buff work to a few people that were confused about it. Pretty much her talent is Holy Protection. When there are dead units on the battlefield, you can summon one wolf. It's a wolf spirit. The stats of the wolf will be based on those of the general on the battlefield. So whatever you killed, your wolf is going to try to mimic those stats. Okay. However, they will only be allowed to surpass Aka's. I keep wanting to call her Aka. I'm sorry, everyone. But they will not be allowed to surpass Aka's corresponding stats by 150%, which means that if you want to steal all of your enemies' stats, then pretty much Aka here has to have the corresponding stat high enough. I'll explain this, okay? We'll get into this and we'll actually show this in a map because it can be a little tricky, okay? So pretty much after she gets a wolf, she cannot summon another wolf for 3 turns. That's only because this one is at 3 stars. And only one wolf can exist at once. So if it's killed, it cannot be resummoned, so you can't summon a wolf off of a wolf dying, or that would just go on forever. And finally, like if there wasn't enough already, when the wolf soul dies, 10% of its stats, excluding hit points, are gained to Aka. So effectively, the second wolf she can summon is going to be a little bit stronger because all of her stats are going to go up a little bit. That's if she can manage to, the wolf can manage to steal that many stats to begin with off of the enemy. Pretty much how this is set up is it's like the stats have to trickle down, okay? Which means that you can't kill a dragon with 3,000 attack and summon a wolf with 3,000 attack, because Aka's attack is not going to be high enough to make a wolf with 3,000 attack. Her attack would have to be like, well, it'd have to be like over 2,000. I doubt that's going to happen with a B stat, right? And if my math's a little rusty, I'm rounding up or down, give or take. Alright? But we will get into it. We will actually, we will show this happening and I'll explain everything. So the interesting thing is once she gets the wolf, she can do different things with the wolf. These are just a few of the abilities I have. Death Howl can be used if there is a wolf, big surprise, on the battlefield. So this is going to kill the wolf and deal 0.2 physical AoE damage and 0.2 magic damage to enemies within 3 blocks, so it's an AoE. Now this 0.2 and 0.2, it's based off of the wolf's stats. So the more stats that the wolf can steal off the corpse, the more damage he can do with its corpse explosion. It's the best way to look at it. There's also a chance that they will be affected with 2 debuffs. So this is nice. This lets her sacrifice a wolf, do some AoE damage, and potentially debuff some enemies. Um, what's interesting to note is before you sacrifice your wolf gets his own turn, and then she can use her turn to blow the wolf up. So effectively, a wolf can attack an enemy and then be blown up. So it's pretty nifty. I definitely dig it. And then this is a skill right here, Bestial Outbreak. I had to actually test this one because of how it reads. So this can be used if there is a wolf soul on the battlefield. So it kills the wolf soul and makes one of your units move to where the wolf soul previously was, or was previously, okay? If this unit has already completed an action, it can move again. And when it says move again, it actually means act again, okay? And can't be used on units you aren't using. So, yeah, that speaks for itself. But pretty much, it doesn't explain it very well. But, in a nutshell, you can use Sakura to kill somebody and summon a wolf off of it. You can move that wolf up and attack somebody. And then you can have Aka Shaka here use this outbreak ability. So the wolf is going to get sacrificed, and then she can teleport anybody that's within a few blocks of her over to where the wolf was. And then that character gets to act again. So Sakura can effectively kill something, make a wolf, and then be teleported off that wolf, and then she gets to act again and she can go kill something again. And if your Aka is 6-star, then you might not have to wait that long to get another wolf. Unfortunately, mine's going to have to wait 3 turns. But this is really cool. This is a very unique teleport ability and act again together, right? The distance limit on it is, well, however far the wolf can travel. The wolves run 5 blocks, so it's a pretty nice 5-block teleport. It can be very useful. So I did have to mess around with this to make sure that it actually works the way that it reads. Alright, and finally her 1 cost skill. This one confuses people. They're like, why would she need that? But in a nutshell, it's an active skill. Your attack or intelligence is increased by 50%, which is large. Whichever is lower for 3 turns. You can also move an extra 2 blocks after you use this and attack again. So the important thing is that this is increasing your lower stat between attack and intelligence, because well, your wolf is going to need that stat. So pretty much what you want to do is you want to use this so that you can increase your other stat, and then you want a wolf to be summoned off of your stats. This ability is going to help you, like my Aka has a higher intelligence, so this is going to increase her attack by 50%. So the more attack she has, the more the wolf's attack can be, as long as the corpse that the wolf came in from has a high enough attack already. Man, it's confusing already. I'm really just going to have to show you guys. So why don't we just get into that. Let's find an easy level to demonstrate this. We'll just go to training school. Alright. So the other cool thing about Aka is she can actually take advantage of some stat scrolls that you're probably not using for your mages, right? Because this is actually a mage that can use an attack scroll, because you kind of want her attack to be as high as possible. It is a B stat because it's going to affect the attack of your wolves. So I had a ton of those, which is why my Aka actually has much more stats added to her attack than to her intelligence, even though she's getting way more intelligence off of the gear that she has. So here we go. I also like her troops. Oh, that wasn't good. It's okay. It's okay. We started on auto, but that's all good. That's what we wanted to do anyway. We used her 1-turn skill So because of that, her attack is going to skyrocket by 50%, right? So her attack now is 600, and let's just say it's 600, right? These enemies, their attack is only 900. So 948 is the highest attack that my wolf is going to be able to have. But that's if that's if Aka's attack is high enough to be able to steal that much from these corpses. But we got to make them corpses first. So I'm going to we're gonna finish her movement here. We'll have Bernie faction buff, because what we want now is we want Sakura to kill something so that we can make a little baby wolf. Alright, so we will just teleport Sakura up here with the help of Iris, and then Sakura should have no problem knocking one of these dudes out. Joshua can just sit around. So here we go, we're gonna make a wolf. Sakura's going to kill this thing. Now remember, it has 948 attack, so we want the wolf to be able to have 948 attack. So my Aka's attack is high enough to be able to absorb all those stats. So let's see. There's our wolf. Now we can look at its stats. So here's our wolf. 948 attack. Okay? The wolf was able to have this much attack because that's how much the enemy had that I killed, and because Aka's attack was high enough. So if my Aka only had, let's say, 100 attack, then that means the wolf could only come in with 150 attack max, no matter what I killed or sacrificed to make that wolf. I guess that's the better way to explain it. So, but because obviously my Aka's attack is a lot higher than 100 right now because of these buffs and everything, her attack is 639, then we have no problem taking all of these stats from one of these generals, because these are the stats that we're going to go off of to try to make the wolf. So that's pretty much how it works. That's why it's important for Aka to also have an attack stat, right? So other than that, you know what, let's do something with this wolf. I completely forgot about it. So we have this wolf now. I was going to teleport Sakura over to it to show off one of the abilities, but I got ahead of myself. And then obviously after we sacrifice this wolf, Aka is going to get a small percentage of all of its stats, so she is going to get stronger. So ultimately this ability, you know, it favors you killing stronger opponents and trying to take their stats, right? If you're fighting a bunch of weak mobs, you're going to spawn a bunch of weak wolves off of those generals. Alright, so we have a wolf here. Which one do we want to use? Let's do this outbreak ability. So let's see, how do I want to do this? Alright, we can move this wolf over here. I'm afraid if I attack with the wolf, well, actually, you know what? He might not die. Oh, let's see. Oh, he died. Alright, well, she got the stats from that, and actually this shows off how all of her little summons are allies. So every time they die, like my Bernie has an axe equipped that lets him heal 20% of his health and get rid of a debuff if an ally dies. It's very easy to proc all of those abilities off of these little wolves dying. Same thing with the Yu Yu Hakusho character Yusuke Urameshi. As soon as an ally dies, he gets a bunch of stat bonuses, and he gets to increase his attack range and a bunch of very useful stuff. So a character like this can trigger abilities like that, and it can trigger certain gear, and that can be a pretty huge advantage. Bernie healing 20% is very nice when your burn has 1200 defense. So this is why I was excited to get this character, because for me, I'm going to use her to teleport, and just to make cannon fodder, mess around with these wolves. Let's see, we can actually look at her. But in a nutshell, that is how her stats work. There is some confusion about it. Also, it's important that this single point cost skill right here that lets you get a 50% increase to your attack or your int, whichever is lower. This thing has a 5-turn cooldown, right? And it's active for 3 turns. So once you use this, you have 3 turns to summon something and to be able to get good stats off of it. Because as soon as this expires after 3 turns, if you try to summon in a wolf, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage, because your weaker stat isn't going to have a 50% increase to it, which means that your wolf isn't going to be able to steal as much of that stat. And for a wolf, it can go a long way. Obviously, if you have her set up as a caster, you want the wolf to be able to get as much attack from the corpses as possible, because then when you do something like blow the wolf up, it's going to go off of the wolf stats for the damage, and her stats, or the wolf stats, are based off of the enemy stats and her corresponding stat, so it's like a trickle down effect. And like I said, after these wolves die, she does get what? How much percent? Once the wolf dies, 10% of its stats. So her stats are going to be going up like 10, 15 at a time, which is cool, because then technically, as she goes on, she gets stronger, and the wolves that she can summon, they keep getting stronger, because all of her stats scale up. So this is what I was talking about, where they finally gave us a mage where I can actually roll some attack rolls. I had a bunch of these, because I haven't really been using them on anybody else. I don't have any hit points to put on her. I would like to do that though. And obviously, look at my intelligence rolls. Like, my attack here is a 12. My intelligence is only a 3. That's because I only had the little wimpy scrolls, because I have so many other mages to roll stats for. So it's important to remember to round this girl's stats off, I think, if you're really going to be trying to do something with those wolves. Because if you only build her for her S stat, yeah, if she's going to have a super low attack, your wolves are going to have a super low attack. It doesn't matter what you kill and how much attack it has. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, I wanted this character because I think she's just going to be a ton of fun to play. I think Guild Wars is going to be fun with her. And she's completely different than anything else that they've given to us, and that is why it's kind of so hard to describe how this girl actually works and how she plays. And if I butchered any of it, I'm sure somebody will correct me, or 1,000 people will, lickety split. But I just got this character today. I was able to run her a little bit, just to make sure the abilities work the way that they read, and they don't even really read like that. But to my knowledge, this is how she works, and I have ran her, and I have checked all this. So if I did miss anything, please kindly let me know what it was. Alright, and please do try to explain. So soldiers, she gets the Spider Demon Elves. I do like the break that they have, because they're going to lower magic defense and movement. And obviously, this girl can use magic. She can attack. She has Dark Reaper, very nice. She can kind of self-sustain herself with that. But for what I'm doing, I'm pretty much going to be using these teleport abilities. This one right here, this AoE one, I was just messing around with this thing. I have to try to run this in some harder content to try to actually pump those wolf stats up, to see how much I can get these AoEs to do, you know, and to see how worthwhile they are. So we have another one here. Willpower can only be used when a wolf soul is on the battlefield. Eliminate the wolf soul. No, it's a soul. Eliminate the wolf soul and grants all friendly units within 3 blocks of the caster, not the wolf, +2 mobility as well as 30% increase to attack and intelligence for 2 turns. This 30% increase to attack and int does not stack with fusion buffs. I already tried. But hey, that could still be useful, because what if your faction buffer dies or something like that? You can still crap out like a halfway decent faction buff for attack and intelligence. And then also the important thing is mobility. This is an ability I'm going to be using because of the mobility, definitely, because I don't run Luna, right? Like, I don't have a Luna built up. Yeah, it's important to note, this girl is not even in the factions that I have invested into, and I still wanted to pull this character because I honestly think that even without her faction buff, she can still teleport and do a bunch of nifty stuff. Obviously, with a faction buff, she's going to have higher stats all around, and she's going to be able to have stronger summons off of those higher stats. And that should make sense after we just looked at how she works. So yeah, really neat character, really neat. I hope you guys get her if you're pulling for her. I did not get Brenda, and like I said, I don't really run either of these factions. This whole banner could have been a huge skip for me, but I was very interested in how this girl plays, and I'm very happy with the results. She's definitely going to be keeping me busy for a while, just trying to figure out what I want to do with her. But really, we should all be saving all of our tickets and our Lapis for the next limited incoming Record of Lotus War collab. At least that's what I'm doing. Today they did give us a, what was it called? It's not a Trinity voucher pack. Well, we have an Easter skin gift pack, which is cool. Okay, this is going to give you some skin vouchers, some Trinity vouchers, and some crystals. It's 20 bucks. I don't know if I'm going to get that. We have the Easter Mastery gift pack. This is going to help you out in Apex Arena. It's going to give you 6 stacks of these SSR scrolls. Those can be very useful, right? And then, what was it? It was a huge Trinity voucher pack. It's a $20 pack, and I think you get like, I don't know, 12 or 15 summons off of it. That is the one that I got, and I'm just setting it aside for that collab that's incoming. I don't know when, but I know we need all the time we can get now, because personally for me, I was drained on Lapis because I had to roll to get the skin for Sigma. It just looks too damn good. And I've been contemplating putting Sigma into my Apex box. I mean, look how awesome he looks. It's just a great skin. And of course, you know, I got this skin like second to last, so it cost me like a couple thousand crystals. But he's looking awesome. Definitely digging the skin. It looks great. Definitely have to do some work on this character before I can even think about using him. But the reason I would put this guy into my Apex team is so that I can run this gal right here and have a second faction buffer for her. Because if I pick this girl right now and somebody eliminates my Altamuller, then Knight of Mystery is going to have to go into the Apex match without a faction buffer. And it's kind of hard to be a tank killer when you don't have a faction buff to power you up, because the tank that you're going to be assaulting, they're definitely going to have their faction buff up, okay? And I know a lot of you are saying, well, wait a minute, why don't you just have Landius do that? In my Apex box, I do not use, I'm probably the only person that does not use Juggler and that does not use Landius. This is a personal handicap I've set for myself in this game, just because I wanted to be different, I guess, because 9 out of 10 fights, I'm banning Juggler and they're choosing Landius, or vice versa. It's just always like that. It kind of just gets generic to me. So when people fight me, I want them to have a different experience. So I don't use Juggler, I don't use Landius, and the third handicap I give myself in this game I don't use clock, and I don't mean the rune set clock. I mean, I don't use the clock that rewinds the game by a turn in case you made a little oopsie. I have to clear the content in one clear for me to finish whatever map I want to run. And it's worked out so far pretty well for me. There's always going to be those very difficult fights that come down to RNG where I might have to run the map a few times just to get something to proc to finish the map. That's happened to me. It's been frustrating, but I've managed to make it through without ever using that rewind clock. So that's it for me, guys. That's what I'm working on. I will keep everybody posted. It's just been really, really busy with this whole virus thing going on. It's been terrible. So I'm going to be trying to record as much as I can. I have a lot of stuff to get caught up on over here in Langrisser. Langrisser. But everybody have an awesome night, and I hope you pull the character that you want off of this banner. But if not, you should probably put your Lapis away anyway, because there's going to be better characters, more relevant characters, characters that are better for arena. Yeah, everybody fight the good fight and save every Lapis you can. Mobile Gamers Unite. Peace, everyone.